Hello YouTube and welcome to Groundworks. This is episode 7 of the RemoteTech guide for the Kerbal Space program. Today I will be talking about command centers, what they are and how can we use them to negate the effects of signal delay. This is our craft that we will be flying. It is a space station that will be sporting several Kerbals on board. So, without further ado, let us proceed to the launch. And, coming to the launch, I have noticed that I have forgot one vital part of the vessel. Kerbals. You see, you need a total of 6 Kerbals to exploit the full feature of the command center. So now we will load all 6 Kerbals in our craft. Okay, save and go for launch. Okay, now let's look at the map. Okay, we are in daylight and we need to throttle up, turn SAS on, and 3, 2, 1, lift off. I will be showing the ascent to the orbit in 4 times acceleration because you've seen me doing this many times. During that ascent I will talk a little bit about what are the command center. So remember when you are actually flying a RemoteTech probe, and every time you need to maintain a connection to the Kerbal Space Center. Well, the Kerbal Space Center in this case is actually a command center. So the center from which the commands are being sent and from which the drones are being controlled. As you can see on the map, this is indicated by the red dot. The KSC is the red dot, and our craft, because it matches a very specific requirements, is also now a red dot, which denotes that it is a command center. Right now I'm just preparing the burn for going to the orbit. I'm apologizing a little bit because my throat is a little bit sore. Hopefully I have a small cold. I hope it will go away. But yes, the requirements for the space station that can feature as a command center are: first, you need antennas, clearly, otherwise you are not able to communicate with anything. Second, you need power for these antennas. Well, not directly by RemoteTech, but you actually need to keep them powered, so otherwise nothing will work. Then, you need a total of 6 Kerbals on board. They don't need all to be in command seats. As you can see, I'm using one command pod and one passenger module. And beside that, you need a remote, you need a big 2.5 meter probe core, which I believe is called remote guidance unit. So when you have all of these things in place, your craft will be treated by the RemoteTech as a command center. The main benefit of the command center is due to the fact that you can take this command center anywhere else in the Kerbal system. For example, we will be taking this one to Duna, and you can see me now performing the alignment for the transfer burn. Just doing the adjustments to see that we match and that we do come somewhere along and get an intercept by Duna. Almost there, and pretty sure here. Okay, we have a capture. So the main point is, when this craft gets to Duna, it will be the command center in Duna's orbit, which means all of the probes, all of the satellites will be communicating directly to this station instead of relaying their signal back to the KSC. Considering the distance between that this station will be in the same system as will the remote probes, that means that the signal delay that they will be experiencing will be minor. It might be up to 1 second, as opposed, as you have seen in the last episode when I was playing with the signal delay, it took up to between 1 and 3 minutes before the craft would respond. I mean, it's still playable, but it takes some thinking ahead or some KOS programming that you really need to do, so your craft has to be more or less autonomous. This way, when we get our command center to Duna, then basically we can do anything we want there using probes as they were real Kerbals. We only have to make sure that we are maintaining a constant connection to the command center. Note that I'm saying connection to the command center and not the Kerbal Space Center. So you don't really need a connection to the Kerbal Space Center at all, assuming you have a command center in Duna's orbit. So, in order to control a probe. Now, if you want to send science data back to the control to Kerbin, then you would still need to be able to relay the signal to the Kerbal Space Center, so you could profit from transmitting the science. However, for controlling the probe, this is not the case. And right now you can see me performing the burn to finally align with Duna. And as soon as I'm done with that, I'll put some time acceleration and I will be transferring on to Duna's orbit. You've seen me doing this a couple of times in some previous episodes, so I don't think this will be particularly interesting to you, so I'll probably just forward ahead until we come as close as possible to Duna. I actually might give you a nice sneak peek of leaving Kerbal Sphere of Influence, basically saying our 6 Kerbals saying goodbye to Kerbin because they won't be seeing it for a while. And you can see us slowly drifting away from Kerbin. And at this point we should be able to see the moon. By the way, I had to delay the transfer to Duna because it was intersecting moon, and moon was a little bit screwing up my orbit. So, yeah. Now you can see us flying away from Kerbin, and moon passing in the background, and now like I said, I have fast forwarded until we got on our ascent to Duna, or intercept with Duna. For all intents and purposes, we will be doing the Aerobrake. I have to be a bit careful because in this save I'm still playing with, I believe, in Deadly Reentry, because this is actually a very old save for me. It's 0.24.2, so, and it has been a while since I have last posted a RemoteTech guide, so I figured I owe you guys still a video that explains the command centers, and I will probably be doing one more of the videos, and that one will be one communication satellite, or assembling such a satellite that could communicate to all possible planets. It is still on my to-do list, however, it might take me a while until I get there. Okay, now we're just trying to play a little bit around to see that we get a very nice periapsis, aligning our ship, and we will be doing a little bit of the burn. Putting some time acceleration. Okay. A little bit more. Now we're at periapsis of 27, 16. Let's put it down to somewhat 12.9-ish. I think that should be more than doable. So now, as you can see, I'm adding a maneuver node just so that I know how to orient my craft before the actual aerobrake. Just making sure that we are pointing in the right direction. Okay, and let us time accelerate until we get very close to Duna. And this is Kerbal alarm clock automatically warning me before getting to my maneuver node. And while I'm doing so, I might as well close off all the solar panels just to make sure that nothing gets broken while we're aerobraking in Duna. And I also turned off the lights to conserve some power. Okay, and let us see how we're looking here. Just delete this maneuver node. Yeah, in the 0.24.2 it was a very early version of the trajectories mod, so pretty back then it wasn't as useful as it is today. Today it would show you with your aerobrake how you would be standing, would you end up within orbit or not. Check it out, I think it's a very good mod. It's just that since it was 0.24.2 I didn't use it as much. Okay, we're coming close to the actual atmosphere of Duna. So I'm once again making sure that I'm pointing retrograde. No any particular reasons. I thought just it would be, since we are using small stabilizers at the back, they would be able to take some blunt of the heating and everything, but Duna has a very thin atmosphere, so it's not really an issue as it would be if we were aerobraking at Eve. That I tried a couple of times and basically deadly re-entry fried me senseless. Bleeding off a little bit of energy, still not enough. I really do hope I didn't miss out with this periapsis though. Okay, now our apoapsis is dropping significantly, and as you can see the airstream is fiddling with our actual orientation. We don't need to care about that, we will care about it as soon as we get out of the atmosphere. And our orbit is curving, which is nice. Okay, now we're officially in orbiting around Duna. Let us see how will our orbit turn out to be. I pressed a little bit time acceleration because now we are already on the way up. So far our orbit looks pretty promising. Ooh, and we have gotten clearly an encounter with Ike. This is not something that I want to have, so I will probably just make a small burn to ensure that we do get in the orbit, which would be inner orbit. Yes. So as you can see, I have circularized the orbit. I didn't think that would be so much interesting to you guys, and now I have actually decided to decouple the station, go a little bit further from the transfer stage, and orient the station so you can see what the station actually looks like. This is the part that you have seen in the blueprint at the beginning of the episode. So we have enough solar panels, actually more than enough. I do tend to over-engineer things, but I guess that's the Kerbal way. It's in the spirit of the Kerbal exploration to over-engineer everything. Okay, power on. We do have the probe core, we have all the 6 Kerbals, and now we want to enable our antennas. I believe we have already enabled one antenna, so now you will see me switching to a probe, which previously had the delay, if you remember from the previous episodes, between 2 and 3 minutes. Now, it says D plus 265. This is because we have not yet deployed the antenna from our control center. 265 seconds, that means around, hold on, roughly around 4.5 minutes delay. Now, since if we activate our communication dishes, usually it's convenient to set this small one to nearby moons. So if I'm at Duna, I would point this small dish, which is inner system dish, to Ike. And now the most important one, the Omni Antenna, that we will use to communicate with the craft that are in the same orbit as we are. From this point onwards, as you can see, we are maintaining the connection to the KSC, but that is not as important for us as it is for the other craft that we have an antenna. So now if I go back to the ComSat, you remember it had 265 seconds delay, which was 4 minutes and 20 seconds roughly. Took me a while to calculate it in the head. Now you can see the signal delay being 0.04 seconds, and this is mainly because we are now communicating with the station and not with the Kerbal Space Center. So as you can see, for all the craft that are within Duna's sphere of influence, we are now communicating to this command center, and we are experiencing the same amount of delays as if we were controlling the probes on Kerbal. And this is like a big thing. If you want to play with the RemoteTech, if you want to play with a signal delay, and I can clearly see the biggest reason for using this is if you are going to the Joule system. Then you have lots of small moons, then you have one big gas giant, and there the signal delay is just horrendous. I don't know what it is by heart, but I think I remember last time when I was playing, which was a long while ago, it was 960 seconds or something like that. So it was completely crazy. It was really unplayable. Anything else, anything higher than 30-40 seconds is hard to play. Everything above that is completely unplayable without either the flight computer or the KOS. So, as you can see, this is the main reason for using such a center. So now let me show you what happens if by some reason we go behind in the shadow of Duna, so we don't have a direct connection to the command center. Oh, yeah, hereby I wanted to see why this probe didn't have a connection, and basically it was due to my own forgetfulness that I didn't bother to extend the antenna. Well, this kind of mistakes happen, and actually they happen more often than you would think. You just decouple and you forget to extend the antenna. Boom, you have a brick in space. So okay, and now we are using the ComSat, and let us do a couple of circles until we get to the opposite side of Duna as the command center. Let's see, will it be now? Almost. Almost. And now we're in the shadow. Let me pause this for a second. Now if I disable this, you will see this craft is communicating directly to the command center and not communicating to the Kerbal Space Center. So this is the main point and the main benefit I was trying to make with this episode. I hope you like the episode. If you like the video, please do like the video. If you like more of this content, please do hit subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. This is Grumforks signing off.